Hello, welcome to Fulton Street Beats. This is part 2 of the Yngwie Malmsteen Strat style build. And the last time you saw that we installed the backing plate and got this cover correct in the correct spacing. We're going to be removing this today. And we're going to get in there again. And we installed the claw and we also shielded the cavities. So we do have it all shielded. I chose to go with the aluminum shielding. It's just it shields just as good and it's less expensive. And if you make a mistake, you're not paying a fortune over and over to keep buying the stuff. So works fantastic. I use it on most of my guitars, and as you can see, it turned out quite well. That is in part 1. So we're going to flip this over today. We're going to pull this cover off, and we want a real indication of how hard or not hard it is. So there's our cover, and as you know, before we drilled this with the spacing, this is done the correct spacing for the cover. I showed in my last video how to get those measurements using a picture of whatever year guitar you're looking for based on what body you have, and actually using the measurements of a picture from online by miking it to get you the close or in a very close proximity of where you need to be. We also installed this claw where it needed to be, and today we have some other stuff that we have to do. Now, if you notice, we don't have a hole in here, which kind of blew my mind, and I just noticed this when I was doing the claw. We don't have a hole for the ground, so we need to come in here and drill through and put a ground in here. So our ground hole is going to be right in this area. I knew it would be, but that's where we're going with it. So I should be able to get in there at enough of an angle to accomplish that, hopefully. And I'm just going to find a bit to work with here. This would make a lot more sense to me. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to start this just like this. And there's our hole. Easy as that. That's all we did. Just a little hole, and as you can see, it passes right there, right where I want to be. And pretty easy accomplishment, I should say. And I'm just going to clean up this edge on this side. There we are. And it's a nice clean hole to pass our ground through. Remarkably, it didn't come with that. Huh. Go figure, right? But now we have it. So we're good to go there. Now we don't have one less thing that we have to worry about. Now, I will tell you that this jack, this is not a Fender jack right here. Now this is from an older build, but you'll notice that it doesn't sit flush in the hole. Let's see if there's a difference in jacks, and I kind of think that there is. Yeah, now she's flush. So there's a difference. There's a difference in size between the two somehow. Yes. Yeah, there's just it's a different cut. Look at, see the difference in the size? I don't know if you can notice that or not. This one's much physically bigger than the one that actually fits in it. So, not that I can confuse the two, because this one's much better quality. There we go. Okay. Very cool. So we can actually get this jack in place. Why don't we do that? Get this set up a little bit here. I'm going to put this nut on here, like so. I'm going to put this through here, and I'm going to get my space correct. So I'm going to give this a turn here. Now that's going to double lock it, so you can see that the jack's pretty much in a really nice, good location right now. But we need to make sure that this has been routed out properly inside here. I don't know what body you're working with, but it is. So there's nothing going to hit. And we're going to put this at the angle where the jack's going to go in and make the proper ground, which is going to be like this. So I'm going to tighten this up real quick here, guys. I'm just giving it a snug by hand, kind of like this, so you can see, but firmly. Then I'm going to turn it so it, there we go. So what that automatically did was lock those two nuts together the way I did that, and now it's nice and tight. So now we can do all our wiring connections later on, but what I'm going to do first is make sure, once again, everything fits in here properly, which it does. And I'm going to take my dry erase. Dry erase works good for writing on these finishes because it wipes right off. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate fitment here. Before I do that, I'm going to lay in temporarily this awesome loaded Pickguard because I want it. There you go. See, we want this line with the line and curve of the Pickguard. Again, we could do it like that, and it's going to be like way off, right? So we're going to do it here, but we also need it so we're not close to an edge where we're going to split the wood. So there's that. We get it so it kind of fits flush where it needs to go. Kind of there. I'm going to mark a hole. I'm going to mark a hole, and I'm going to pull it off, and I'm going to look at it and make sure they'll see we're really close to that edge right there. Do not want that. That is not what I want. So we'll pull it back off again, wipe our hole off. So we're here, center point, here, center point. Now let's see what we got. About as close as we're going to get right there. So we should have very tiny screws for this one, and that is right there. So we need to be dead center of these holes. Yeah, that took a long time, but it's one of the things that we really need to make sure is proper. So what I'm going to do now is to actually tape this down exactly where it is. Boom. Okay, so that's not going to move on us. And I'm going to start this right dead center of this hole. Right there. And I'm going to put a little dimple right there. And I'm going to just start that screw just like that. There we go. Just started it. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. Pressure, dead center. These will press like butter. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, and we start it. We just start it. Now, what I want to do before I go any farther is back these out. We don't need that tape no more. Back these out. Pull our tape off. Pull our jack out, and see exactly where we are. I'm going to clean up these spots. And there's our hole, and there's our hole, and you can see how dangerously close they are to an edge. This is why you really need to pay attention. So I want to clean that hole up a little bit. Take that out of there. If I can. There we are. And then we're going to take a little bit of wax. Just a touch right here. And we're going to put it right there because I want it to go in that hole too. Why am I doing this? He's like, why are you waxing your holes? Well, it's so close to an edge, and one thing we talked about before is splitting edges. It's so close to an edge. You take that wax, and when you push that wax in, well, first off, you're protecting your finish. Second off, when you put that wax in here, oh, you guys can't really see. When you put that wax in the hole, it's going to help the screw go in because we're going to self-tap these screws and not pre-drill. Why wouldn't you pre-drill? Because I don't want them ever, especially being a jack plate, don't want them loosening up and coming out. So we're close, so we're going to go slow. And I'm going to go very slow here and let the screw do the work. Now, I am not saying to do it this way. This is just how I do it. And this is, yeah, that's going in. I'm not going to have to worry about this. That is going in super easy. Like I said, a little bit of wax helps it go in a lot easier. I hope that makes... These jacks, I don't know why they make them this way. There's not a lot to grip on there, right? I mean, you can see how close we are to edges. We can take this off now, and we can put this. This is going to keep it ready until we get ready to do our wiring and stuff. I mean, I suppose we could do our wiring theoretically, right? So anyhow, let's get these in place. Make sure everything's going to line up. that. There's that. Okay, so we're tight in there. We didn't run into any issues, and as you can see, it's nice and flush mounted, and it's going to match the contour here to here, which is very, very important. You see that the curve runs with it. It's parallel, and that's what you want. You don't want it all awkward or out of proportion. You want it to look proportionate. And these are the little things that sets these strats apart, is the proportioning. So now we have our jack in there. And we'll pull this back out, sit this over here. And I think we can do some wiring. Why don't we do some wiring? So let's do this. Let's drop this bridge in, and I'm gonna get it about centered in here. We're gonna take some estimates. Okay. So we know the center of the bridge is going to be, follow me on this, guys. The center of the bridge is going to be between these two holes. There's no ways around it. That's the center of the string. So that piece right there should theoretically follow up the center of this routed cavity, because if these cavities should be routed precisely, because if they're not, when our pickguard goes in, we're not going to have our poles pieces lined up where the string should be. So there's a little bit of fluctuation, a little bit of movement we can do there, but we need this part to be centered with where the neck's going to sit centered. So we're going to take, not where the holes are, but this spot for the neck right here without having the neck. So we're going to find our center here, okay? And we're going to see exactly what we have for our spacing here. And see where we're at. We're at 55.7. We're going to have to split that in half to find our dead center. And this is where we get technical. So half of 55.7 would be what? 27.85. Let me write that down. 27.85 millimeters. So we're going to go 27. Points. So our center is about right there in the pocket. So I'm getting an idea of where center is, okay? Yeah, this is the tough part without a neck, because with a neck we shine a laser beam right down from the nut with the mounted nut right to here, and we know right where the strings need to run, and we can adjust our pickguard accordingly. I hope that makes sense to you. But right here, we can't do that. But we can do something. We're going to find center of this guitar. I'm going to take this bridge out, and I'm going to wipe off this wax a little bit here. And we're going to take a piece of tape. I'm going to eyeball this tape, which sucks, but we get our optical illusions kicking here. That right there. And I'm going to do something here. Kind of strange, guys, so bear with me. So there's these two holes right there. Okay, so the center point between those two holes is where we need to be. So if I drill that out right now, I think we'd be in a world of hurt. But there's our center point right there. Ah, it's close. So we need to find a straight edge. Yeah, I know. That's why I keep a little glass. Be careful. Glass picture frame with a super straight edge. Nice to see through. So we're going to take our line. I'm going to take my laser beam, my blazer beam. And I'm going to line that right up down through there. That's an extremely straight line. Now, what this is just going to give me a guide to the center. There we go. That's better. So now I can see my straight line right down through there. Is that straight? Is that on? Boom. Yes. So that's a straight line right to the center of that neck, right in that vicinity. So right down this line here. Keep it right on. And we're passing, no matter how far I go back, straight onto it. Yes, so we're good. That's dead center. We got our dead center right there. Woo! Okay, so yes, that's a pain in the ass, but lasers are very accurate. You can't, if you mess up with a laser, you did something really, really wrong. But now we know that the center bridge and these holes are correct. So I'm gonna put this pickguard up here in location with it. So this center of these poles need to be, and I'm probably confusing you, and I'm talking out loud and thinking out loud. But the center of this pole needs to be center of there, which is center of there, which is center of there. And this would be the center of here, so that would have to be there. So if that is lined up correctly, bloop, right there, this can drop back there. Center, 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 center. So that's where it's got to go. That's it right there. Okay, so I'm going to take the pickguard off. And this is the mock-ups that you have to do. You got to mock up, guys. You just have to. So what I'm going to do now the fun begins, guys. Now the fun begins. So now we're going to put this bridge on. And there's not a lot of leeway. This bridge is made to fit in here pretty precisely. There's not a lot of leeway. So there's that. Now we're going to, we know our two holes. That's center, blue, 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 blue. Okay, that's nice and okay, and we have our holes, or our marks for our holes. And there they all are. See that? Now I'm going to go back to here. 10.7, 10.7, 10.7, 10.7. Everything runs 10.7. Our holes are dead on. Now the fun begins. With a brass hammer and a nail, a very pointy nail. Okay, all of our holes are just kind of got a little dimple in them, so we can start the process. Now we put this back on here, and it should theoretically still line up. And we're good. Look at that. Okay, so guess what now, guys? Now we're going to pull this tape off. We're going to see our little dimples. See that? See those little itty bitty dimples right there? That's all we need. That's all I need now, because we have plenty of meat here to put our screws in. Let me find those screws. we are. Now, this is the liquid wax, guys. Why, Mike? Why? Well, that keeps the screws from becoming too tight. So. There. Not too shabby. There we go. As you can see, now that is correct. Mounted correctly. And you know what we can do now is start our wiring, which is going to be pretty easy now, right? So we're going to take one of these, and it doesn't matter which one, is going to run through, one of the black wires here, is going to run through to the trem. The other two are going to run to the jack. The white and the black will run to the jack. There. Come on. There we go. White and the black are now ran to the jack, and then just the black goes to the claw. That's going to run over here and down into the back of the cut guitar here. So we can pull everything nice now. We can sit in our pickguard. There we are. Boom. There's our wire for our claw. And then here is our wires for the jack plate, which we're not going to shorten, but I'm going to put this up here for now and out of the way. So now that we've determined all of this stuff, when we know that our center position is here and our center position is here and our center position is here, guess what we can do now? We already know that our pole positions with the strings properly placed is going to be right. We can actually install our pickguard, and our neck pickup is going to hang kind of over the pickguard. So we look at, you can't really go up or back much with this. So we will kind of bring it back as much as we can. And you see our spacing on it, each side of this now is right. Our spacing, we have an equal space here, and we have an equal space, I'll get you in the camera here. We have an equal space right here, and we have an equal space over here with the pickguard. And then this is fitting this hole perfectly, which tells me that it's cut right. So now we're going to dot this thing once again with this. We have this in place, and let's get our tape again, that we know this is where it's going to go, because like I said, our center right here is right down the center of these pickups. So our pick guard is centered, and the pickups are centered with the bridge and with the center of this pocket. Now, if the center of this pocket is off a little bit, which it shouldn't be, but if it is, then we'll have to make adjustments to the pocket itself, which means we'd have to make adjustments anyhow. Most of the time we wait to do this until we have the neck. But no matter what, we're going to be at the mercy of the neck pocket. So that's why we're doing that this way. So we're doing this. We're just marking these. A little Sharpie. A little dry erase. There we are. Oh, we missed one. Blue. There we go. So I'm actually going to keep the pick guard on. A dab of coconut oil on the screw. Why? Because it conditions the wood as it goes in. It won't split. And it'll keep it from splitting in the future. Just a dab. So I'm just getting these in place. We can start a couple here. Equal pressure, nice and straight. And this is what we do when we don't have a drill press. When we got one, we're just not using it. I'm not going out in the cold to use the drill press. Okay. And there we are for that. Look at that. Isn't that great? I'll move this stuff for you. So you can see. There we are. Beautiful. Like I knew it would. Okay. So now we bust out we're about done in this cavity for a little while here. We're going to bust out the soldering iron and we're going to solder this to where it needs to be. We can push this stuff back up in there when we're done. What we need to do is pre-solder, and bear with me guys, I can get you in here. The cord's not very long right now, but what I want to do is put some solder on the claw, and always pre-solder your tip. And put the solder on the claw, see that? So we have a ball down here on the claw, and I'm going to get you guys some more light because I just realized that the light is not where it should be. So if you're soldering, if you're not used to soldering or anything like that, what you want to do is pre-solder the tip of your soldering iron, kind of like so. Okay. Get a little bit on, now that I have solder on my iron itself. So now what I'm going to do is take this wire, and I'm going to put a little bit there on it. I warm it up. I always warm up your surface a little bit. And I'm going to put a little more here. There we go. Just like so. Now we have solder on the tip, on here, and pre-soldered on the jack. So I'm going to come in to the jet or to the claw. Just kind of warm it up. Give it a little touch. Now we're going to have a really good solder point right here. Let it cool a second. Pull off. And there we are. That's all there is to that. But we're wired. See? Simple, easy peasy. You just want to make sure, people say don't use a lot of solder. It doesn't make, you just need a good solid connection, and that's what we have. And I'm going to tuck this in. I'm going to go over the screw. A lot of people go under. I don't like to. I'm going to go over the screw like so. See that? Let me, you know what? Turn it so you guys can see. How's that? Why don't I do this and then see if I can put you down a little. There we go. How's that, guys? Now you can see how nicely everything's fitting in there. And we're going to take our screw or our springs. Now, these are a bit different than, you know, a Floyd Rose or anything like that. A lot different than a Floyd Rose. Stay in tune a lot better. I shouldn't say that. They stay in tune easier with a lot less setup. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this one in here. Get it out there. All right. So I can take this here then. Sometimes it's easier just using a screwdriver. There we go. See? Center spring popped on. And we can use as many as you want or as little as you want. See, that's not important that it's right, because if it wasn't, if we didn't do this right, it would have hit the side of the body, and we don't want that, right? Push down, pull up. There you go. 2 springs, same thing. Pull it, hook, push down, pull the screwdriver out. There we go. Now, how's our tension? That is the next question. So I'm going to put my bar in, my bar. There we are. So there we go. Okay, so we're just running 3 springs on this one. I think 4 or 5 would be overkill. We are set up in there now very nicely, right, guys? There you go. She is a very nice. Okay. And if you guys are worried about it sitting on the trem bar right now, don't, because if they're that weak, you don't want them. So there we go. We're all set here. you can see, set in the back, trim. Now you can see how even it is in there with this space with that, which is very important too, that you get that straight. And then there's the front, and it's all fingerprints. I apologize, but it's looking pretty cool. Man, it's so dirty right now. All right, so we're gonna move this to the side over here, and we're gonna wire this jack up. And that should do it. So there's our jack there. And now we have to do the other one, which is going to be this one, which is the white one. Same thing. Let's coat our end. This always helps me. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit in that hole right there. There. Now that's pre-done. And I'm going to pre-do this a little bit. There we are. Just a touch. And now we have enough to work with. I don't even have to use the solder it. Let me just hold it, let it cool. Boom. Our jack is wired here. And we can put our jack in where it goes here. These, you want to be very careful with these jacks, these output jacks, because they're very delicate when it comes to the screws pulling out. So there we go. Look at that. Yes. We have a completed body. I didn't know it was going to go as fast as it was going to. We have a completed body. And I'm going to go over here and test it. You guys, well, you know what? I guess I could test it right here so you guys can hear it. Now we're going to test. We should have nothing. I'll turn it up. Nice. Everything's up. Okay, that's first position. All poles working. Second position. Perfect. Third position. Just center. Perfect. Fourth position. Perfect. Fifth position. Everything is wired correctly. Awesome. We will actually test the output later on and see what we got. But I'm excited. Everything's come together nicely. And listen, guys. So I'm going to turn this up. I'm going to put this right in front of the amp and see if we have any, what we have for feedback. Directly in front of the amp. Directly in front of the amp. And zero feedback, and we're going to crank the sound. And now we're going to run some, I'm going to turn it down, I'm going to run some distortion. Actually, full distortion, metal lead. Nothing, guys. No feedback whatsoever. So everything is coming together quite nicely and perfect. I am excited, guys. What do you think? Great build, right? This is turning out nice. Yngwie Malmsteen build. Do we move on with this build? Do you want to see more? Do you want to see more? Because what we can do is install these. You know what? Let's do that in the next episode. All right. Thanks for watching Full Street Beats. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. When we come back next time, we are going to install these strap locks that have to be drilled into the body. They're flush mounts. Okay. That'll be the next episode, part 3, coming at you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.